In the Philosopher's Stone, Harry is an 11-year-old boy who's suddenly faced with a confusing and magical world. One minute he's sharing an awful vacation with the Dursleys on Hut on the Rock, an island that looks like a miniature Azkaban, and the next moment, a slightly homeless, looking half-giant is banging down their door. Just thinking about it, I think Vernon Dursley reaching for his gun is pretty reasonable. This vacation was of course just an attempt at getting away from the Hogwarts letters that the Dursleys kept destroying and could not escape from. It's the middle of the night, everyone's sound asleep, and Harry is writing happy birthday to himself in the dirt, as you do. The clock strikes midnight. Then comes Hagrid, who basically just break and enters into their vacation home. Sure, why not? He's a giant man, and no one even really knows who he is. I know that he needed to get Harry his letter, but he could have done it a little bit more tactfully. After all, the Dursleys can be pretty awful people, but they probably don't deserve to think that they're being murdered. Vernon and Petunia might know Hagrid, but Dudley doesn't. First things first, Hagrid delivers Harry his birthday cake. He explains that he sat on it, and that's fine, because he probably only weighs 900 pounds. Hagrid's primary reasons for the visit were of course to deliver Harry a birthday cake, as well as his Hogwarts letter. Harry begins to read his Hogwarts letter, finally, and then begins to get reamed out by Vernon and Petunia for being magic and having magical parents. Vernon insults Dumbledore, and Hagrid makes a very questionable threat towards him with his umbrella. During this time, the cake, that was left unattended for a very short period, is being shoveled into Dudley's mouth. Hagrid sees this and wastes no time, instantly flicking his umbrella and giving him a pigtail. Okay, so this bears the question. How is Hagrid able to perform A, magic in the presence of muggles, and B, magic on muggles, and get away with it? Knowingly using magic in a muggle-inhabited area or in front of a muggle violates Section 13 of the International Confederation of Warlocks Statute of Secrecy. Harry was in a life-or-death situation with the Dementors and got in trouble for magic. So how can Hagrid break into their home, give them pigtails, and walk away?
Because Harry is such an influential figure in the wizarding world, and because the Dursleys have taken such extreme measures to keep him from anything magic, perhaps Hagrid was simply able to take a few liberties with his assignment, at least as far as discussing elements of the magical world in front of muggles. One thing that I know for sure is that underage trace on young wizards doesn't usually begin until they actually start at Hogwarts, so they likely wouldn't have been keeping a super close watch on Harry. Hagrid is also barred from magic, so that's something to consider. Giving Dudley a pigtail that he later had to have surgically removed is definitely excessive, but I think that the worst part about it is that Hagrid actually meant to turn him into a pig entirely. He wasn't successful, but the intention was there. This is reflected when he says the following.
"Shouldn't have lost me temper,"
Hagrid said ruefully.
"but it didn't work anyway. Meant to turn him into a pig. But I suppose he was so much like a pig anyway, there wasn't much left to do."
Hagrid broke at least 3 wizarding laws, assaulting a muggle, one that's 10 years old, using magic in front of muggles, and illegal magic. I'd like to say that the Ministry knew and just turned a blind eye for the day, but knowing how they are, that's unlikely. It is more likely that Hagrid just broke a lot of laws and doesn't care. He is old enough that he would no longer have the trace, and any sort of magical activity that he performs would be harder for the Ministry to detect. If that is the case, then it's likely that Harry didn't yet have the trace either. That's it for the video. Until next time.
Harry, did you put your name into the goblet of fire?
Dumbledore asked calmly.